Hi, it's Bumble. Welcome back to my channel. So I don't have notes for this because I didn't take any notes in my phone, and I'm gonna try to keep this on the shorter end, hopefully, because I got something I gotta do soon. But luckily, I don't really have too many notes. So I had rewatched Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3, and then I was going to watch this movie by myself, and then my parents saw me watch the intro and saw Baby Groot, and they're like, no, we want to watch this too. So we just finished this one. I don't know if we're going to watch the first one as well. It feels weird that I'm like watching these in a backwards order. I probably won't watch the first one though. I got like other movies I want to watch instead. It feels weird rewatching this though. This came out in like 2017 and I haven't seen this again since I originally saw it in theaters, which is kind of funny then of like how much I actually remember from it. Like I remembered more from Volume 3 than Volume 2 because that was like more recent. But actually out of the Guardians movies, the three of them, this one's my favorite so far. I mean, I don't know if there's gonna be a fourth. But yeah, this one's my favorite because it was just like the funniest to me. I especially think like the first, I don't know if I could call it like the first half. I don't remember how long this movie like actually is because I was watching it on YouTube TV where I'm like skipping through the ads or whatever. But like up till the point when they get to like Ego's planet, no, like when they first kind of get there and stuff, and then the movie continues from there, then it kind of stops being less funny. I mean, because the movie gets more serious and stuff. But yeah, this one's pretty funny. I think Drax is honestly probably my favorite character out of like the Guardians group, just because he's the funniest. I mentioned when I talked about Volume 3 that his like friendship with Mantis and stuff is especially funny. I forgot how that developed like from this movie though, because like in the third movie they're already like the best of pals and she kind of understands more like social behaviors and stuff, because then she's like ends up being a part of the Guardians group and she even pulls pranks and stuff as well. They're like the bestest of buddies. But then I forgot when they first meet each other here, he like bullies the shit out of her, but they also end up becoming friends pretty fast in their own like really weird way. Like I felt bad for her because he's like constantly calling her ugly the whole movie, and it's like funny, but it's also like, damn dude. But he does also like save her when she ends up unconscious, and he could have like easily died from that. And then I liked the part when he's telling her about his daughter and she does the like emotional telepathy thing or whatever, and she feels his intense sadness at that moment and then like starts just full on sobbing, because Drax always comes off as like a very chill dude, and you hear him like talk about his family, like his wife and daughter and stuff. But I feel like it's really at that moment you understand of like how much he's like kind of hiding his pain. I mean, all of the characters, not just like the Guardians, have like sad backstories and stuff. I still think like Rocket's is the saddest, but sorry, I got distracted by something for a second. But yeah, that was something I was paying attention to. But speaking of Rocket, it's also weird watching the third movie like right before watching this one, because I like watched it within the same week. Because I kept thinking about how like in the second movie, also I think in the first one as well, where Rocket's constantly saying how he's not a raccoon. So then it's a big deal in the third one when he finally figures out of like, oh, I actually am a raccoon. He sees like the baby raccoons. So it's stuff like that. Or there's a point where someone makes a jab at him about like the scientists that created you must not give like a rat's ass about you. And it's just like this one comment that's listed in like a list of things of like Yondu comparing himself to Rocket, but then after seeing the third movie and you finally get to meet Rocket's like creator in a sense, and how much of a like complete asshole he is, that I feel like that line kind of hits harder. I'd remembered when I watched the third movie that like Yondu was dead, because this is like he's in the first movie too, but he's like, I feel like more of a major character in this, where he ends up wrapped up in like the ego stuff. I forgot like how much of a cool guy he is, like the part where he does the I'm Mary Poppins, y'all. was like one of the only lines I remembered, but it's probably like my favorite within the Guardian series because it's funny. So I think that moment became like a meme too, and I think I saw something about that like before I'd watched the movie, and it was like the only thing I'd known about it. But yeah, I liked this character here, and Peter. You know, the entire series he's like searching for a family, and this is the one out of the three of them that's like about him, and he finds out his dad's like a planet, and at first he's like chill with it, and then, you know, Ego definitely lives up to his name of wanting to become everything or whatever, and then Peter realizes it finally at the end of like not only were the Guardians his family all along, but Yondu was kind of like his real dad. I really like the speech he gives at the funeral at the end, which is sort of funny about kind of comparing Yondu to David Hasselhoff, or I guess just David Hasselhoff in movies. I'm assuming real life David Hasselhoff doesn't like fight robots and have a talking car or whatever. But it was like a nice speech. I actually really liked the ending of this movie. If anything, for some reason it made me sadder than like the stuff in the third movie. I think because with the third movie I had like watched it the second time, and I was like a bit more accepting of the ending, and like I already knew like what was to come. With this one I forgot like everything that happens, but it's almost sort of bittersweet, sweet. I guess just kind of sweet, yeah. I called the ending of this one kind of more sweet, and the third one like bittersweet, where it's, you know, in the third one everyone splits up. But then at the end of the second one, like during the funeral scene, everyone kind of just has like these little separate bonding moments or whatever that are nice, or just everyone's being nice for a little bit. Like in the third movie, Rocket has the little like MP3 player thing, and I completely forgot like where that came from. And that came from this one where it was like picked up from Earth. It was kind of funny where it was like oh, everyone listens to these now. And then when you see it in the third movie, it has the songs from up to like the 2000s. I always consider 2000s as like, you know, 2000 to 2010 really, because then it starts the 2010s, and now we're on the 2020s. It's crazy. But I was confused about that when I watched the third movie. I'm like, why doesn't it go farther? But that's because it's like a MP3 player basically, which I thought was kind of cool, of like, you know, the characters live in space and stuff, but then the Earth technology in that sense is kind of, or I guess not Earth technology, but like whatever music device Peter has is always behind. Because I get with the Walkman and the 80s stuff is like he was a kid in the 80s, so that's like a big part of his identity, to the point when he's fighting his dad, and they turn into the weird rock things or whatever, he turns his into Pac-Man. I like that it even had the matching sound effect as well. But yeah, the whole ending scene's really nice. I like the part when they get to Ego's planet, and the song, of course the songs in these, I feel like it goes without saying, they're all great. These movies have a fantastic soundtrack, and I like that the music for this one comes out of the little cassette thing of the volume 2 that Peter's mom had made for him and stuff. So then it's kind of sad when it ends up getting squished at the end, you know. But yeah, and then George Harrison's My Sweet Lord plays during that scene, and it makes it really cool, honestly. I feel like the music really affects a lot of the scenes. I mean, I know, that's what like music's supposed to do in movies, but it's just something about like the soundtrack for these that just fits so well. And I love that it's a lot of like oldies, you know, like besides like a lot of the stuff from the 80s. Like the design of Ego's planet even kind of makes me think of the Beatles. I mean, I know My Sweet Lord is from like after they split and it was like George Harrison's thing, but I feel like with kind of the trippiness of a lot of like Beatles songs and stuff, that I maybe because I'm thinking of like Lucy in the Sky with Diamonds or Octopus's Garden. I feel like the design of Ego's planet and like how colorful it is and just kind of weird to look at, where it's like sort of organic but kind of just still feels very like alien in a sense, which I guess is supposed to be the point, kind of fits with that, because the design of it's really cool. I like the big palace thing that's like a castle sort of, and the design, the whole planet's really cool, but then there's the whole reveal of like, oh yeah, no one actually lives there, and Ego's actually like the planet, and then they go and they find the bones at the bottom. And my mom had said something, and I during that part, and I'm kind of still thinking about it, where if like Ego's been alive for like millions of years, how are the bones like still preserved? Like, I know they're underground, but it's like the bones of people that don't have the celestial genes, so I guess they're just like normal in a way. So I feel like their bones wouldn't have the ability to last that long. I don't know, but that I remember that was kind of a crazy reveal. Like when I originally watched the movie, I wasn't expecting that. But I guess it makes sense because he's like so excited to see Peter. And Ego makes it out at the beginning of his story of like not mentioning of like, yeah, I impregnated like a bajillion other people as well to try to like make his mom seem more special. It does kind of make me wonder if like he did really love Peter's mom. He kind of was selling it a bit. I was kind of believing it, but like he was kind of lying about everything else. But the part when he tells Peter about like, oh, it hurt me to put the tumor in her head, I remembered about that line. I think because of the like, it's a very serious scene and stuff, and that's what kind of shocks Peter out of the like supercharged up state, and he gets like really pissed and everything. Like it's a well done scene, but just the camera work during it is like kind of funny to me, where it has that like sort of zoom in onto Peter's face, and there's like a really weird sound effect where he's like, wait, what did you say, basically. And it just kind of ruins the moment a little bit. Let me think what else. There was like a lot of stuff that I'd forgotten about. Like I forgot about the Sovereigns, you know, the gold people. Like I remember them a little bit from like when they pop up in the third movie where they introduced the character Adam and stuff. But I had remembered them being like more of a threat in the other movies. I don't remember if they were like in the first one. I don't think so. I think they're introduced here, where it's all about like the batteries and stuff. And it's funny to me like how far they're willing to go to get their batteries back, but I guess it works out for the characters because the batteries are used to like charge the bomb that kills Ego. I think the makeup for them, the Sovereign, are really cool. I mean, I know it's just like gold paint and stuff, but the fact that like everything on them is like gold and stuff, it looks pretty cool. But I just find them kind of funny where they're like so determined to kill the Guardians that at the end of the movie with the credit scene they start their like next evolution to create a being just to like kill them or whatever. And just the whole thing of like how far they're willing to go, and they end up dragging in like the Ravengers into the plot. Speaking of the Ravengers, I like the part when they're like on the forest planet or whatever, and it's like the middle of the night, and Rocket is going around with his little like toys and whatever, trying to like stun them and stuff. Probably killed a couple of them, honestly. But that scene was pretty funny. I forgot that Nebula was in this too, because like my dad was asking me when we were watching of like, oh, how come she's like nicer in the third one? And I remembered it had to do with stuff between like the second and the third movie, you know, with like Infinity War and stuff. And I like could not remember even as I was watching this. Like she does seem to be getting nicer, at least in this one, as it's going along, where she does end up saving Gamora and stuff. And then they have like the hug scene at the end, which was kind of nice. What I was surprised with Nebula though in this movie was the part when she like she does end up taking charge of like Yondu's ragtag group for a little bit. I thought she was gonna like fully become their leader and use that as like a way to escape or anything. I actually don't remember how she like got out of there originally, but I was kind of surprised that didn't happen. Like she orders them around for like a couple of things, but yeah, I completely forgot about the, I guess, side plot of Yondu and Rocket having to like bond through the whole movie, where they end up the ship, you know, they have like the mutiny thing and everyone's tied up, and there's that little section of the movie where Groot is trying to find Yondu's like prototype Finn, and he keeps bringing the wrong stuff because he's like mentally a toddler or whatever. That scene was pretty funny. Baby Groot was honestly really fun in this. And then I remembered that like all the movies that take place between like the second and the third movie are when he's like a teenager and stuff. So then it's kind of nice where you get to see him grow up throughout like the different Marvel movies, and then by the third one, it's like he's finally an adult again. So it's like just in time for him to be able to like full on fight people and everything. But it is kind of fun watching him as a baby here. I like sometimes I'm iffy about like baby characters that I feel like just kind of exist to just be like cute. I mean, they do have like plot point importance, like I'm thinking about like Grogu, for example. But oh shit, hold on. Okay, I need to actually wrap this up. I forgot about something. I mentioned at the beginning, I was like, I need to go. This was only 15 minutes, so this is actually pretty short. But yeah, overall good movie. Oh, one more other thing, because I mentioned about like the Guardians and Baby Groot, as we'll call him. He's really cute. He's fun. Two other things. I love the intro where he's dancing to Mr. Blue Sky when they're fighting the giant like tentacle monster and stuff. That's like one of my favorite, like not just like Marvel intros or like title sequence things or whatever, but like one of my favorites of all time because it's just so fun. Such a good song. But the other thing, since I had like just watched the third movie before this, it made me sad about Gamora because there's like the whole thing in the third movie where they bring her back from the past and she doesn't remember anything, and Peter is rightfully so upset because they were like developing a relationship and stuff. Got almost all the universe killed because he was upset about her dying. And I mean, of course, it's almost a little annoying in a sense to watch, even though I feel bad for him. But then you watch how they are in this movie and how much she really does care about him, and it is just kind of a bummer. And she is like a really cool character in the first two movies anyway. Like it hadn't really hit me because it had been a while since I watched these, and I was just like, damn. Because like I said in my thing of the third movie of like, if you had someone you cared about that much and then suddenly they didn't remember you, I'd want to like tear apart the world too, honestly. But yeah, overall good movie. I feel like there just isn't a lot I can say about it because I enjoyed it so much, if that makes sense. But yeah, I got a thing I gotta go do right now, so I'm gonna just end it here. If there's anything else that I forget to talk about, I know this was like super brief, I'll write it in the description or whatever. Okay, bye.